Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, Heidi, we have got a great guest on today, and we've got a dynamite topic because we're going to be talking about developing your spiritual gifts.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking today about developing your spiritual gifts, and our guest is Stacy Cripps, and we met her at the Helping Parents Heal Conference in Arizona. So
Elizabeth Boyson's conference. We got to shout her name out because she's quite the lady.
Absolutely. So Stacy is a well-known and highly respected evidential spiritual medium, mentor, and advisor. She believes we are all endowed with spiritual gifts. She has a daily meditation, and it's guided meditations to awaken to spirit. And Mom, as you know, she has a phenomenal website, so please go and look at everything she does, and we'll talk more about that today.
Absolutely.
So welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. I'm so honored.
It's so great to have you on and to see you again. You look so lovely.
Oh, you look so lovely too.
So, Stacy, I wanted you to start out our audience before we talk to them about developing their spiritual gifts. Talk about how you developed yours.
Okay, so I had a spiritual awakening in 2011. Actually, my first spiritual awakening happened in 1995 when my best friend Heather was killed in a car accident on her way home from college. We had grown up with one another since we were 4 and 8 years old, and I experienced that third trauma of grief where I went numb and everything, and I couldn't really wrap myself around that she had passed. And for a year I grieved, and one night I was having this dream where I went to her house and she wasn't there, and I woke up crying, and I said, okay, I need help with this. Can you please help me? And I went to sleep, and she came to me in my dream state. And she gave me evidence of her passing. She gave me messages. She told me when she passed in the car accident, she wasn't alone, that a woman pulled the car over and was holding her before she passed.
Wow.
And then months later, I was walking into a grocery store, and I heard her voice. My ear rang. And she said, call my mom tonight. Tell her that I've been coming to you, and give her the messages that I've been telling you. And so I heard her voice. I could feel her. I could feel her love. I had chills head to toe. And I went home that night and called her mom. And I said, Heather's been coming to me for months and months. And she told me she wasn't alone when she passed, that there was a woman that pulled over the car and held her before she died. And her mom said, I didn't believe them. I said, who? The EMTs on the scene.
Oh my gosh.
It told me a woman pulled her car over and was holding her before she passed.
Oh my goodness.
And I haven't been able to go on with my life knowing that she was alone.
Yeah. Oh my
Which we're never alone.
That gives me chills.
Wow.
Yes.
That really does.
And that was my first spiritual experience in 1995.
Wow.
And then after that, all my loved ones.
I've got to ask you one question when you come up with this. I'm wondering, and I think our audience is wondering, I wonder why she didn't appear to her mother. Do you have any ideas about that?
Yes. So our thoughts and our fears and our worries and our pain can be so heavy. So spirit, our loved ones in spirit, are in the afterlife, in the heavens, in a higher place of love, peace, and joy. And so they can connect to us so easily when we're in a very centered place of love, peace, and joy, because it's vibrational. And it's energy, and everything is energy. A lot of my clients say when we're on vacation, we see the signs, and we feel them, and we hear them, and that's how it is. So love attracts love, peace attracts peace, joy attracts joy.
So if you're on vacation and you're in a good vibration, you're more likely to see signs and be connected.
Yes,
Okay.
100%.
You know, I'm also thinking, because I'm a bereaved mother, my son was killed 40 years ago, a long time, but, you know, I still get signs, so, so maybe, I did get a sign in a dream a couple of months later, when he basically appeared to me, and he was a baseball player and threw a ball to himself. And, you know, she was showing how to move energy. And I just looked at him and said, but I didn't really say it. I'm sure you can explain it. It's a meta communication.
Yes, it's
where
telepathic.
I said, are you okay? And he said, I am. He looked at me like that is a very weird question and said, I am.
Yes.
And it took me years before I understood what the dream meant. So I just held I am for many years through my own progression. So things are strangely happen over time. So what I'm thinking with our audience, if they're hearing, wow, my child died this last year and I still haven't heard anything, maybe we'll talk to them about how they can calm themselves to get themselves ready or to look for the right thing.
And to ask.
Yes, and to ask.
What does that look like?
So
asking.
Ask from your heart space, not your head. From deep in your heart, in a place of love. Ask for the signs. Ask them to come through. Ask them to connect with you. Ask and it's given. And they know everything. They are in the all-knowingness, the gift of all-knowingness in the afterlife. They know everything that's going on with us here.
So I'm wondering, Stacy, why do you think some people that are grieving do not ask? Like, do you ever see that?
Yes. I just feel that they're processing their grief.
Okay.
So grief can take a lifetime. Grief can take years, and they're processing their grief. And I'm also a grief minister. I've been a grief minister for 10 years. And I know that crying is healing, talking is healing, processing the grief is healing.
Well, they say that with the crying, there are hormones actually in the tears that
it's cleansing.
Help you. One of my friends who was a psychiatrist once said, "Don't worry about crying. Nobody's ever died from crying, have dehydration from crying."
Right.
So.
Yes, it's all good. And when you get to that place of wanting that connection for healing, because the love
wait a minute,
is
I like
so
that. Wanting
healing.
the connection for healing.
Yes,
so you're
chills.
ready. It's not just to allay your fears.
Right.
You're wanting it for healing.
It's all healing.
I had a friend who was a college professor whose wife died. And I said to him, "Have you received any signs?" And he said, "Oh, no, I don't believe in that."
Yes.
So, of course, he would never see even the slightest sign.
Right, he won't.
Yeah.
No. Unless it's planned and it's orchestrated. I believe everything is orchestrated by spirit. So by everyone over there in the divine place, it's all orchestrated. They plan it. And when it does happen, when you do see the sign, it's to feel their love, and it's to feel that they're still with you. And when you feel that, I say, acknowledge, say thank you.
I love this.
Acknowledge it, because when you acknowledge them, they have to learn how to connect when they cross over. They have to learn it. And when they get it happening on a regular basis, oh, wow. It could be quite amazing. Like, you can receive multiple signs a day and experience synchronicity and what I call the spiritual vortex of, oh, you're really here. And just feel that love
Can you talk
and that
about
healing.
synchronicity a little bit?
Yes. So synchronicity is when 2 or 3 things happen that it's all connected in the moments, and it's showing up again and again and again, and you're meant to pay attention to that. That was coined by the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. And when you experience synchronicity with spirit, that's also a spiritual sign. They are bringing you that synchronicity. I always tell the story of Sophie, the first child that I read for in spirit. And she set me up in this experience where her mom was at my meditation workshop, and she came through. And then we went and had lunch. I had lunch with her mom. And she came through with her little Mary Jane, little gerbil who had just passed. And I didn't know this, of course, but I'm like, she's got this little Mary Jane, little animal on her shoulder. And she said, she just passed. And they were together, and she wanted her mom to know that. Well, I get in the car, and she was from St. Jude. So she passed through St. Jude Hospital. And I'm in the car, and I'm driving home. And a Sophia McLaughlin sign comes on, and I start getting chills in my car. Then I look up, and I see these little girls around her age selling St. Jude bracelets on this chalkboard. Just come over here and buy your St. Jude bracelet. And then my mom calls me and says, I'm at the post office, and you're not going to believe this, but I'm staring at this pink book that says Sophie's Mouse, and I'm getting chills. Do you understand this? It all happened within 2 minutes.
Right.
So everything came in with her. She created that moment as a thank you, I feel. And it was beautiful.
Right.
So are some people that die, like, are they more adamant about connecting with people that are still here?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Because they want you to heal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to heal through their love. That their love does not die. They, of course, show their body, but their spirit is alive. It's very alive and well. And they're in paradise over there. And they, it's not really over there, it's everywhere, but they want you to feel their love, and they want you to feel their spiritual connection, and that they're still loving and guiding you. Now, my next spiritual awakening was in 2011, and I was at a conference, and I was guided through a meditation for the first time in my life to Amazing Grace.
So a guided meditation to the music Amazing Grace.
Yes,
okay.
By Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Wonderful. I love Wayne.
And I love Wayne. And I'd been reading his books for years because I was an executive coach, and I was reading his books on power of intention and all these things. And in the meditation, in my wakeful state, I was open to see, feel, and hear spirit. And my grandmother came, my grandfather, Heather, my uncle, one of my really good friends. And when I opened my eyes, I saw my grandmother, my grandfather, and my uncle on the stage standing next to Wayne in a hologram form.
Wow.
And my grandmother said, "We're still with you. We're still loving and guiding you."
Loving and guiding you, yeah.
And that's
my
the
whole
first time that
body,
it ever happened?
First time I've ever seen spirit with my eyes open.
Wow.
So I was open to seeing spirit for a number of years until I asked, could you, close that up? I just want to, so I could not be startled by seeing spirit with my eyes open.
Well, that's interesting. So you did not want to see that?
Yes, because I would go to workshops and to trainings and things, and I'd be sitting at a table with everybody, and I would see a man's wife standing next to him, and she would look at me and give me her name and some messages, and then I would go up and share it with him, and he would show me her picture and in the same outfit that I saw her in.
Right.
And so after that I said, okay, I understand why I'm here, and what I'm here to do is to share the gifts of the spirit for healing and love, but you can close that now.
Right. Okay.
So it was closed, and now I just intercede.
Has there ever been a time where somebody appeared to you in some form and you went and told the family and they resented it and weren't open to hearing this?
So in my first couple years of my spiritual awakening, and after 2011, I'd get my nails done, and I would hear and feel their loved ones, and I would share because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know, like, you really needed them to be open and ready for it. And that went on for a good year or 2 years, or a good year, I think. And then I went to Omega Institute in upstate New York.
Yeah, I love Omega.
Yes, a couple times I went there and was trained by renowned healers and spiritual mediums, and I learned so much about it and how it's meant to come to you. And people need to be in a place of readiness.
Yeah, I was telling
receive.
Heidi when Scott died, a woman came to the viewing and said to me, I was right, and he died suddenly in an automobile accident at 17, and I was devastated. And the woman came up to me and said, "Your son appeared to me last night, and he wants you to know he's all right." In the line, and I'm like,
wow, he set that
up. I really did not need that information from you. What I felt was, if he's going to appear to somebody, it's going to be me.
So you weren't okay with that
No,
message?
I wasn't okay with
Right,
it.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I do.
It was shocking, but I was prepared for the experience as well as could be, because I was a clinical nurse specialist in psychiatry. He burned to death. I worked on a burn unit, so I knew how awful it was, for people who survived severe burns. And I taught grief and loss. That was my field, and I covered the whole surgical service. So, thank you. You prepared me as best you could for the most horrible thing, that could happen.
Right. Yes.
So.
And I really do feel that they orchestrate these happenings for us, for our growth and for our spiritual development, that it's placed on our timeline in a certain way for us to open up more and more and to understand and to be curious and to be in wonder, to understand more and more, because it's infinite.
I think you just said something which I think is so important in this life. Be curious.
Yes, be curious. Be in wonder.
Be curious. I mean, don't let that go. because of the pain of the whole thing. Stay curious.
And one of the first, I'll say, divine messages, because I received divine intelligence in meditation, and one of the first messages that I received was, it's in the wonder that the miraculous happens.
I love this.
I love that.
And now I'm getting chills again.
So being open. So if somebody wants to have more of these, wants to have these experiences and wants to connect, what advice would you give them?
So first, I would ask for signs from your heart space in a place of love, and then every day be in wonder of the signs appearing. So be in a state of allowing for it to show up, and be in observation daily for it. And then secondly, I would say meditation. So meditation is the place of spiritual connection. And the reason that we can connect with them in our dream state is because there is, right after deep REM sleep, there's a meditative state before we wake up. And they can connect with us right there. And when you meditate, you leave the mind and you go into your, I teach, into your heart, your spiritual center. And when you're deep within your heart, just breathing, just focusing, you're actually going into your own spirit to feel your true self, your higher self. And when you're here, you're in a place of love or peace, and voila, you can invite your loved ones to you.
I love that.
And
well,
receive.
Let's talk about meditation for a minute, because I'm a meditator, and I have been for a long time. But you know, when right after Scott died, there's no way. You got the monkey mind. It's just, you know, you're just going bananas. And I think for me, if I could go out and go for a walk, even
walking meditation,
anything you could do to just try to calm the body down at first. You know, drinking a lot of water.
Yes.
You know whatever you need to do to try to calm. And it does happen. I mean, you do calm down over.
Well, you're creating
time.
a space, sacred space around you. When you're out in nature, when you're walking, you are in a spatial place of receiving. And that's a beautiful place. Walking meditations, to just go into a place of calm and just be. I mean, I meditate every morning, and I create space in my day, at least 2 hours, to just be with, when there's not a lot of output going on or input going on, and I'm just in my own spirit.
Well, let me say why I think her meditations are important, because I think that when you're first learning, particularly if you've had a loss, you really need a kind of a spiritual mentor.
Yes.
To help you.
Or like a guided meditation.
Yeah, a guided meditation.
I do the 12-minute Deepak Chopra, Oprah meditations, because right now that's all I can do, and I love them because they're short and they're guided.
So I always say to people, what works for you, do over and over and over again. I still have the same meditation CDs that I had when I had my first spiritual awakening. And I still listen to that music, that meditative music just puts me back in that space. And I don't search for new, but my meditative experiences were spiritual journeys. When I opened up spiritually, I started journeying in meditation, and like going to beautiful Green Hill and flowers and colors and rainbows, and I went to these sacred spaces, and I would just sit there and just be, and then my grandmother would come and spend time with me in meditation there, or my friend Heather would come, or other loved ones would come, and I would start to receive messages. And then I had these angels come to me, and I had an angel experience in my spiritual awakening too.
And the angels are different than the people you know that have passed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a higher vibration, a lighter vibration, and a higher vibration. So when I had my spiritual awakening, angels came to me in my sleep and when I was waking up, and I kept seeing the number 1212 everywhere. It just kept appearing. I didn't know what it meant. And I remember getting on a scale, and it said 1212 around the week of my awakening. And I'm certainly not 1,212 pounds, but it kept appearing. And so those are spiritual awakening numbers. And I was having a spiritual awakening. I didn't know anything that was going on, but I could feel angels with me. And I came home from New York because it happened in New York City. And
here you are in New York.
Here I am
again.
in New York
right? Full
again.
circle.
And I came home and I started talking with my husband, and these words were coming out of my mouth. Thou shall. Words I never use. And I kept hearing hymns, like angel hymns, just played for 2 weeks in my sleep and when I would wake up, and I
the
felt
word
angels.
thou is like a religious biblical word.
They were these words. My husband would say, oh, what did you say? I said, I don't know. What did I say? And so I was in this place for 2 weeks, and I just felt wholeness and oneness and so much unconditional love. I felt like I was floating.
That's amazing.
It was just the most beautiful place, and I feel that when I go into meditation.
Wow.
I feel that, but it was so intense those first 2 weeks. But
Now you've got a meditation album on your site.
yes,
Talk about that and how you'd want people to use it, and then you also have some training.
yes. So I recorded a meditation album a couple years, about 2 years ago, I think, called Guided Meditations to Awaken to Spirit. And I had started working with a lot of families whose children had passed when I first started this work back in 2012-13.
Now that's intense.
Yes, but beautiful. So beautiful.
And I can
very
certainly-
connected to the children on the other side.
Yeah, I can certainly see why bereaved parents would want to connect, you know, and want to seek you out.
And the kids, they are so strong in spirit. They will do and create miracles for their families to experience them, whether it's through the signs, the synchronicities, or within meditation. So I was working with a lot of moms and dads, and these guided meditations were coming to me in my meditation. So I started to journal them, and then I started to teach them to the families who were coming to my meditation workshops. And I would just over the phone, I would take them through it, and they would have a spiritual experience with their children. And then finally we recorded them. And we do have Amazing Grace on the album. My niece is a singer-songwriter out of Austin, and she sings it. It's angelic. It's an angelic version of Amazing Grace. But they're mostly guided meditations that are on the album. And I feel when I first started, I was doing guided meditations, and I was going to these beautiful places in the meditations, and I was connecting. And so, yeah,
you're doing other things too. You have a lot going on your website.
A little bit, yeah.
I want you to set an intention on this show.
Oh, I like that, Mom.
Okay.
About your book. Tell us about your book.
Okay,
Yes, I'm going to be writing my first book. And so to share my spiritual awakening, about the spiritual gifts and meditation and how to connect with spirit, and all the stories of the real life stories of the experiences with my clients that they've had with their loved ones. And so,
Do you have any idea when it will be out?
I don't, but I'm definitely going to be working on it. I've got the chapters down, and I just...
All right, well, you heard it here. She's going to be coming out with a book.
That's right.
Okay, now tell me, I want to meditate. Do I have to sit a different way, or do I have to do all these things?
Well, I always say you want everything uncrossed.
Okay.
And you want to sit upright and have your back supported, because you can easily fall asleep when you relax that deeply.
That makes sense.
And I say just have your palms up, in a state of openness. And then whether it's guided or just listening to music, some people love silence. And the first part is just focusing on your breath, on the inhale and exhale, just mindfully to the count of 10 on the inhale, to the exhale, count of 10, and then mindfully to the count of 4. And you just let the breath slow down to a rhythmic breath, and you quiet and clear the mind, and you can invite beautiful white light from the heavens down upon you to clear the mind, drop into your heart, and feel love. Love is the connection. I received the other day, spirit and love come together and go together like peanut butter and jelly, apple to pie, moon to stars. They are one. You know, in our spirit, we are love. We are connected. We're spirit first in the body. We are spirit. So everyone has a connection, spirit to spirit and in spirit. When you're within, in your higher self, or what I call your spirit, you're there. You're there. You are open, and you just stay in a place of allowing. You aren't trying. You aren't judging because you're out of the mind.
Yeah.
So there's no thinking. And so when you start to feel thoughts, it's a training. Then you drop back to feeling your breath, because scientifically it's proven. You cannot be thinking thoughts when you're feeling your breath.
I love it. So it's a natural, normal thing. Tell us where we can find you.
You can find me at actually touching the number one, mhearts.com, 1 for 1 million.
Okay,
Yeah.
and they can get your meditation.
Album on the website.
And you do some training.
I do training. I teach Gift of Spirit mentoring. So I teach people about spiritual awakening, heavenly signs, meditation, how to connect and go within, how to experience spirit.
Awesome.
For healing.
Uh-huh.
For healing.
For healing.
And for love.
And for love. Love
I love
is
it.
such an important factor.
Give
in
love,
all
get
this.
love.
That's right. Because you're giving love to yourself when you're meditating.
Ooh, I like this.
Because you're going into your heart, your spiritual center, deep within, and you're feeling your truth. You're feeling, I have chills. You're feeling the love that is within you that's just waiting for you to connect. You're feeling the peace within you. You're feeling the God within you.
I like that.
And there's the connection. Yeah.
I love it. Fantastic. Well, wonderful. Well, Heidi, I think I'm going to change my meditation to maybe one of her guided meditations.
I know,
huh?
I love it. I definitely want to check them out.
Yeah. You know, I found as far as meditation goes, when you do it a lot, it's almost like a meal, you know, like you're ready to eat, and it's a very satisfying ending to it.
And what it does for you, if you do it in the morning, it carries you throughout your day. So you are less reactive. You are not worrying. You are in a place of centeredness, and nothing can touch you.
You need to make it a priority.
Yes.
Well, listen,
just like having water in the morning or
Exactly.
thanks so much for being on our show today. We really enjoyed it, and you've given us such good advice and wonderful information. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been an honor, and I just love you guys. So I love what you're doing.
The feeling is mutual, Stacy, and I love, you know, what you're doing for people and the hope you're giving people, and, you know, the connections you have, because it brings us such comfort to know that those that we've loved and lost are okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you.
And they're just a loving feeling away.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the show today. And Heidi and I always want to remind you that if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.